was really just a full breakdown, you know, everything that you need to learn, basically the A to Z.
From where to start, exactly what to do, how to do it, all the systems, the programs.
The resources and things that were given throughout the training was just phenomenal.
All right, guys, happy Friday. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to This Is What I Call the Deal Desk, where people submit their leads all around the country. I call them live. I have no idea who I'm calling, where I'm calling, unless I open up the list. Today, I'm going to be calling on my call tool, so I'll be sharing the audio. I am also on Clubhouse. If you are on Clubhouse, click View Full Profile and go ahead and head over to my YouTube channel. By the way, a lot of people have been asking me, when is the video of part 2 on comps going to drop? It's going to drop today, right after the deal desk, okay? So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button on my YouTube channel. If you're watching right now on YouTube, welcome, click subscribe. I will be dropping the video on how I'm able to make offers in less than 7 minutes on single family homes on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. All right, so anyways, let's get started. Okay, if you're new, I basically call these leads. If they don't pick up the first time, I call one more time. If they don't pick up the second time, I move on. If you guys have any leads you'd like me to call live on the show, head over to the reitoolbox.com and there'll be a button there to submit leads for me to call live on the deal desk. Okay, I don't want stuff that's on the MLS, cold leads. It's going to be cold for me, but I want to make sure that you've already spoken to them. And I'll alley-oop it to you. I'll close the deal. This is episode 45. It's crazy. I think it's been a little bit over a year now that we've been doing this. We've actually closed a lot of deals for people. And whether I close a deal or not here live, you're going to be able to see how I can communicate with people, overcome objections. I will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have, only on YouTube right now, okay? So if you head over to my YouTube channel, I'm live right now. If you're in the comment section, go and type in any questions you may have. I'll be doing a Q&A in between calls, right? So anyways, let's get started. We are going to be in, let's see here, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. Then we got some in Washington, Texas, Missouri, a lot in Florida, a lot in Washington. So let's call this person. All right, so this person, they're asking $170,000. Roof is in good shape, 3 to 5 years, floor collapsed. Actually, this might be a duplicate because I feel I spoke with somebody last time that the floor collapsed. But let's call them back anyway. It wouldn't hurt. I'm not sure if this person didn't pick up the phone or not because I didn't have it checked. So let me head over to Call Tools. I'm going to share the audio. So if you're on YouTube, I'm going to share the audio so you can hear it clearly. Give me 1 sec. Let me go and share the audio on Call Tools. Share audio, boom, boom. All right, cool. So let me copy and paste this number. And I don't care how much people ask. As long as these are people that actually want to sell, you're going to see I can communicate with people. So let me put this on speaker here so you guys on Clubhouse are able to hear clearly. Oh, my phone turned on, so I'll be hopping over there in a little bit.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
So let's end the call on that. Let me make sure I put this back, the phone number, and we'll call them one more time. If not, we're going to move on to another lead. Actually, this is a duplicate. If you guys have more than one property, same owner, that's fine. You don't have to submit it twice. Just make sure you put as many properties as you can in the notes. Okay, so this person didn't pick up the phone the first time. Let me call one more time, and then we're gonna head over to Washington in the West Coast, which I think it's still pretty good time to call over there. People still might be just waking up, but you know that's okay. All right, so let's call one more time. See if they pick up the phone. It says in the notes their floor collapsed. Those are always good leads. Looks like they're not even, the phone's not even ringing. Let me see. It shows that they may have answered, but they're not, it's not even ringing unless they're ignoring my calls. All right, so let's move on to the next lead because it looks like that person's either ignoring me or not picking it up. Let's move over to Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma is one of those markets, like a lot of markets in the West Coast, people say it's very competitive and there's no deals and all that stuff. That's really a mindset thing. The best market is where you live right now. You can always get a property a discount and assign it. Okay, so I know people crushing it in California. I mean, we're in Washington as well. So don't think that there's no deals in these markets because there definitely are. Okay, so let's call the next one. Let's see, they're asking 600,000. 2-building, top is empty, needs to be remodeled, needs some work. Reason for selling did not say. All right. This is on Tacoma Way.
Please leave your message for.
So let's call them back one more time. If they don't pick up, we're moving on to the next lead. Since the other phone is now charged up, I'm going to switch over after this call. That way, I like to show you guys what I'm looking at, you know, on YouTube. Hello? Mr. Pham.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Steven. I think you spoke with my partner a while back in regards to your property in Tacoma Way. Were you still interested in selling that property?
No.
You weren't looking to sell at all?
No.
Oh, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I guess he put in the notes that you were looking to get 600,000.
Yeah, but my wife, she come back and she told no.
She what? I'm sorry.
My wife didn't want to sell it.
Oh, no matter how much we paid you, your wife wouldn't want to sell?
No.
Ah, okay. All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man. The wife didn't want to sell. And the thing about that is I don't try to, it's like divorce leads, right? If the husband is open to selling, but the wife is not open to selling, like the deal's not going to work. Typically with those kind of leads, I like to set an in-person appointment. Whoever submitted this, who submitted this? Mr. Pham in Tacoma. If you're watching, Derek, you submitted this lead. Now I saw in the notes that they did not say why they want to sell. And 600,000 seems about full market value. And keep in mind, guys, when you talk to people on the phone, let's say you're cold calling or whatever, or you're getting inbound leads, some people will call you or they'll be open to speaking with you just because they're open to hearing what your offer is. And that's very, very different than like, I'm interested in selling, genuinely. So if the wife's not on board, but the husband is, ideally I try to get them on a 3-way call, or I'll try to set up an in-person appointment, which is always a lot more effective in your own market because you want to get them both on the same page. But it's like almost divorce leads. Like it's no deal's going to happen unless they're both on the same page. So what I'm going to do is if you're on Clubhouse, I'm actually going to start using Google Voice. So you're going to see 2 Stevens here in a second. Hold on a second. All right. Let me go over here. Okay. Deanna, can you hear me okay? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, perfect. So I'm going to start using my Google Voice. This is what I typically like to use on the deal desk. That way I can share what I'm looking at. Okay. I like to allow you to look over my shoulder basically. All right. So let's move on to the next one. So this person, he was open to selling, I guess, but his wife wasn't open to selling. And even if people say, I didn't know that, you know, at first his wife didn't want to sell, but if somebody ever gives you information about selling the property, and then when you follow back up with that person, they no longer want to sell, typically there's a second person of influence or something has happened, obviously, in between the time frame when you first spoke with them and then when you followed up. So what I like to do with those leads, a lot of the times you'll hear me say, so you're telling me no matter how much we paid you, you wouldn't be looking to sell at all. Right? I always say that because a lot of people you know, everything's for sale for the right price, right? Somebody would take $1 million for a $300,000 house. Not to say I would give them that, but the point is, no matter how much I paid you, you wouldn't be looking to sell at all? Well, how much are we talking? Like, some people will get back in the conversation as long as they are serious in selling. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you type in any questions you may have. I'm doing a live Q&A on YouTube. Let's move on to the next lead, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions in between. The next one is in Houston. All right, so let me pull up this property so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm not going to run comps on it. I'm just going to pull it up because I don't like running comps unless the person picks up the phone. And that's a common mistake a lot of people do. They start running comps before they call. I know some of you guys watching me or listening to me do this yourself, but let me tell you, if you're running comps before you call, you could take 7, 10, 15 minutes to run comps. You know what your offer range is, great. When you call them, they don't answer. You've just wasted that time on somebody that may have picked up the phone. Okay, so let's call this person right here. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. And then I'll tell you the details about it. All right, so this is the lead. Let's see, they are asking, wanted me to come see the house to make an offer, but I didn't follow up. Always follow up, okay? What repairs are needed? Couldn't get all the details, but did mention that the property needs work. Any other notes? Let's see, not really, isn't just responding to my calls. Looks like he went ghost. And I'll tell you right now, the reason he's going ghost, hopefully answers my call, but the reason he's going ghost is because you didn't follow up with him at a committed time. I'm going to make a completely separate video on YouTube about follow-up. And I know I talk about it a little bit. I've answered some questions here on YouTube, but a lot of times the reason people go ghost is because there's no commitment. There's no time commitment of follow-up. So if they're expecting you to come to the house and make an offer, not only do you have to try and overcome that objection, but let me call this person first, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do. Okay, so this is in Houston, Texas. All right, so Victoria Drive. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm dialing right now on my Google Voice. Let's see if they pick up the phone. And then I'll tell you how to overcome the objection. Come to my house, make an offer, come to my house. There's ways around that. We've actually had sellers like that live on the show, and they've actually accepted the offer virtually. And I'll tell you what I did.
Please leave your message.
Oh, it looks like their phone's off. Uh-oh. Let me make sure it's the same number. If not, let me see. Yeah, it is the right number. All right, let's try one more time. Otherwise, I'll tell you guys, kind of what I do, because a lot of people have, they struggle with leads going ghost, hot leads going ghost, which is the worst thing. Oh, now it's ringing. See if they pick up the phone. This is right next to like a
Please leave your message.
Call one more time because the first time it didn't ring. The reason I like calling twice when it rings is because if they don't recognize your number, they may think it's like a solicitation call or something. If you call twice, you have a higher chance of them picking up the phone, because very rarely do people selling stuff call you back to back within a short time period. So I'll call them back one more time, and then I'll tell you kind of like what I do to overcome that objection. It's not even ringing. All right. So anyways, you put in the notes that he went ghost. Now, the number one thing is if he wants you to, take a look at the property, I strive to close every deal virtually. Does anybody that close every single deal over the phone? No. If they tell you, that's a lie, okay? Because I've been in business for a long time. You're not going to close every single deal over the phone. Now, for people that say, how can you make an offer without taking a look at the property? Or why don't you come take a look at the property? The first thing you have to do is say, hey, I can completely understand. The great thing about our company is that we're able to give you an offer over the phone. Now, based upon the description, you tell me, I'm able to calculate the square footage. We have a formula that we plug all that information into, and I'm able to tell you what kind of offer range we would be at. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to take a look at the property no matter what, but I need to know what kind of range we would be in. That way I don't waste your time or my time. Okay, so basically let them know that based upon the description you tell me of the property, I have a formula I use in my company that allows me to close X amount of deals a month. Okay, as a result, I'm able to let you know what kind of offer range we would be at. I'm going to have to take a look at the property no matter what, obviously, to confirm everything we discussed, but I don't want to waste your time or my time if we're too far apart. Does that make sense, Bob, or whatever? We actually had a guy exactly that said that in one of the earlier episodes, and it was like a weird property. It was like a restaurant slash like house, I think North Carolina or something. So make sure you always watch the replays because I've had some pretty interesting conversations. But anyways, I told him that and I redirected him back to the conversation. He agreed. He actually started off pretty aggressive, but at the end of the conversation, he actually accepted the offer. So it's very, very key that when people tell you, how can you make an offer without looking at it, or make sure you just take a look at my house, make sure you say that first. Now, if they still want you to take a look at the house, do not like shove it down your throat over the phone, because at that point, some people, they just rather have face-to-face. And face-to-face is always a lot more effective, but always try to overcome that objection by saying that if they do want to meet face-to-face, either get somebody on your team to go to the property or go yourself. Okay? As far as going ghost, now that he's going ghost, it's probably because you didn't follow up. And like I talked in last week's episode, a lot of people go ghost because there's no time commitment. Okay? So if you're new to the show and you're watching, I say this a lot, but if somebody says, hey, call me tomorrow, and you say, okay, no problem, we'll give you a call tomorrow. Whenever you call them the next day, they didn't give you permission to call you specific time of day. Yes, they gave you permission to call, but did they tell you to call in the morning, afternoon, or evening, right? If you get a specific time, you have a much higher chance of them picking up the phone. If they don't give you a time, get a time frame, morning, afternoon, evening. Your chances of that person picking up the phone are much higher, okay? All right, so let's move on to the next lead. So this person didn't pick up the phone. I called twice. We are moving on to Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri. So let's pull this one up. Give me 1 second. So they're asking $160,000. What repairs are needed? Minors. Not much information here. Fair condition. Seller says it's a 4.2, while listing shows 3.2. Seller says would sell for $160,000, which is his asking price. Okay, so I see here that you said listing. Hopefully it's not on the MLS because, as investors, we don't necessarily want to go after, properties listed on the MLS. We want to go to off-market properties, okay? So anyways, let me pull this up. Let me share my screen, and then let's give them a call. Kansas City, Missouri. All right, so this is snowy. I always take a look at the neighborhood because so it's very cookie cutter brick. Okay, a lot of snow. There's a random sofa there. Okay. All right, so there's not much notes as far as like repairs needed. Some people say, oh well, it doesn't need any work, right? I'm sure there's something you guys can find that the house needs. There's always something that the house needs. It's never going to be 100%, renovated or in great shape or whatever. Okay. All right. So, anyways, let's call this person. See if they pick up the phone. I think last week I spoke with this guy. I forgot. He lived in Ohio. He says he hates Ohio because of politics. Everybody always has different reasons for selling the property. And no matter what their reason is, I just let them vent out. You may or may not agree with their statements, but always be on their side. Let the person vent out whatever they want to say. Let's give this person a call, see to pick up the phone. Minor repairs. Anytime somebody says minor repairs, you got to get more information than that. Typically, when you get to the questions about bathrooms, kitchen, That'll let you know what kind of really.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Presco.
Yes.
Hey, my name is Steven. I think you spoke with my partner a while back in regards to your property on Richmond Avenue. Were you still looking to sell?
For 160.
Okay. Did I catch you at a good time?
Sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, I actually want to give you a call and see if we can offer you that. It takes about 7 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, great. So what I'm going to do is I just want to ask you a few more questions. I see some basic information here in the notes, and I'm going to go and evaluate the area on the computer, see what we can offer you. And like I said, it takes about 7 minutes. And I like to let everybody know up front, you know, we are a real estate investment company, so we don't buy every property we look at, obviously. But if I'm not a good fit, I'll let you know up front. And we do have agents. That way, you know, I'm not wasting your time, okay?
Right.
Perfect. So I see here they put in the notes you're asking 160. It needs minor repairs, fair condition. It's a 4.2. Can you tell me a little bit more specifically about the interior condition?
Yeah, it doesn't need.
He's already asking. I can tell, but
where you got that.
What was that?
I said I don't know where you got that needs minor repairs. It doesn't need any.
Oh, well, I guess they put that there because it needs no work. Do you know, like, when the roof and the AC were last replaced on the house?
AC and furnace were replaced 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The roof's about 15.
He wants full market value, so I'm going to anchor price him. I don't expect a good reaction. The roof is how much?
About 15 years.
Okay, perfect. And how's the electric and plumbing? Any issues with that? So
No.
This is what I mean by anchor pricing. Watch. Gotcha.
It's copper and.
I'm trying to get some more information first about the house before I transition into that. Okay. And the bathrooms and kitchen, do you know when those were last updated, or are they just in fair shape? Have they been updated recently?
Probably in the last 10 years.
The last 10 years. Okay. I mean, this seems like a decent property. What's got you interested in selling it?
Because you guys
I'm
called.
surprised. Okay, so you weren't considering selling until we called you?
Yeah, I'm not really.
Not motivated, not serious, but I'm still gonna make him an offer.
I
Listen,
told somebody.
that's why he's asking so much.
They want to give us 160 for it. We'll sell it.
Ah, okay. I wish that they would have put that. Yeah, because I'm looking here in the area. You know, I'm trying to look at similar properties in as is condition, and I see one on. Are you familiar with 52nd Street?
Yeah, that's where. Or no, that's not where I live. No.
Yeah, it's a few streets over, but I see a similar property here that sold for $89,000.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And
for whoever bought it.
yeah, and I think you're asking a decent price because some of the properties in better shape. I mean, they're selling anywhere between 145 to 165. Now, obviously, you know, until I called you, you weren't really looking to sell, so I don't even think a cash offer is going to make sense. But I actually think you're asking a great price range on the open market. Is listing something you ever might consider in order to get that price range?
No.
No? Okay. Well, no problem. I'll let my partner know, and you know, if anything ever changes, give us a call back. Otherwise, we'll check back in within a few months. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
So the reason I'm assuming you put in the notes that it needs minor repairs is obviously because he didn't really give much information. This is a perfect example of somebody that's not motivated at all. You know what I was talking about earlier, actually, before I called this guy? People that just want to hear an offer and people that genuinely want to sell, no matter how much it is. Somebody that really wants to sell can ask full market value or above full market value. I was about to sneeze, excuse me. But this guy is a perfect example of, hey, I just want to see what your offer is. I wasn't even considering selling. 160 is actually a great price on the open market, but I wanted to present the anchor price. I didn't expect a good reaction. He started laughing and said, that's great for whoever bought it. And then I said, you're actually asking a great price on the open market. Is listing something you might be open to in order to get that price range? And he said no, because he's not a real lead. Now, in real life, in your business, these are the kinds of leads that you don't want yourself or your team to spend time on. Okay, I'm just going to tell you how it is. Because if you are trying to make a deal out of any lead, for me, a lead for me is somebody that genuinely wants to sell their house. So when my team is cold calling, when they submit leads, these are people that actually want to sell. I don't care if they're asking full market value, above full market value, or below full market value. They want to sell, and we can capitalize it in any way, whether it is a cash offer, whether it's a listing, whether it's creative financing, whatever it is. These are people that generally want to sell. If somebody in our company spoke with somebody like this, I would just tell them exactly what it sounded like. Hey, it seems like you're not interested in selling. I don't want to waste your time. Why don't you keep my number? If anything changes, give us a call back. Otherwise, we'll check back in with you in a few months. Okay, that's it. You got to spend the right time on the right leads, because a lot of people, they get, a lot of people for leads are just people that are interested. But are they interested in selling, or are they interested in getting an offer? You got to figure out which one it is, so that way your team is productive and only focused on that stuff. Okay. By the way, if you guys need a cold calling company, a solid cold calling company, go to the reitoolbox.com. This is there'll be a link there that says the best VAs, and let me tell you, like they are the best VAs, super trained, super qualified. I'm actually partnering up with this company called Vosity, and we're going to start offering services on virtual acquisitions agents, which we will announce next week. And they will be trained by me, exclusive training for them. So stay tuned for that. All right, anyways, let's move on to the next lead. So we spoke with that gentleman. He's not interested in selling at all. So we went from Houston to Kansas City. Now we're going back to Houston. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit more information from the next seller, see if they're truly interested. Well, I see here in the notes, this property's full cosmetic to 2021 market standards, which tells me probably that the property is more than likely fully renovated. Keep in mind, if you're ever speaking with a seller with a fully renovated property, chances are it's the listing route. Anytime we get leads in, I don't judge the motivation by the price. You can't, because remember, some people will look at the Zestimate and they'll just put the Zestimate on there, and that's what they want. But they always know the least they're willing to take. So it just depends on how motivated somebody is. But if their property is fully renovated to 2021 standards, chances are they're not going to be in a rush or motivated to sell. I have assigned some properties that are renovated, but like it doesn't happen that often. Fully renovated properties, whether they're moving, whether they're going through a divorce or whatever, people are willing to sell at a discount, if you can close on it fast. But if they're not motivated and, they're not in a rush or whatever, and it's fully renovated, I typically don't talk so good about the cash offer. I kind of want to talk good about what I feel is a good fit for them. But let's give them a call. This is the property right here. So the notes say they're asking $62,000. What repairs need? Full cosmetic to 21. Oh, actually, hold on. Maybe I read this wrong. So it's not fully updated to cosmetic standards. It needs a full update. It needs a complete rehab. This is perfect. Tenant occupied. He wants $62,000 based off of what another wholesaler offered him. I offered him between $40,000 to $50,000. Needs full upgrade. The reason he's selling is because he's older and wants to get rid of it. Perfect. So this is a perfect lead. Let's give him a call and see what happens. I guess I misread that, and I thought you put it in there that it's fully renovated up to 2021. You actually mean it needs a full renovation. So let's give him a call and see what happens. And if you're ever speaking with somebody that's a little bit elderly, sometimes you have to talk slow. You may have to talk a little bit louder. And if they're not really familiar with the process, make sure that you guide them through each step. And on top of that, don't ever be afraid to set an in-person appointment, okay? Because a lot of times if somebody's not very tech savvy, or they can't hear you too well, or they just want to meet in person, you can't try to hard close them over the phone, okay? Because it's actually going to hurt more than help. So let's call this lead, see if they pick up the phone. I've dealt with some older people on this show, and sometimes I have to scream because they can't hear me too well. So you can only imagine trying to close a deal, get them to sign a contract, reading the contract to them in some cases, and you lose your voice by the end of the call. The house doesn't look too bad. Looks like a cookie cutter area.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Lewis. Good afternoon. My name is Steve, and I think you spoke with my assistant in regards to a property on Maggie Street. Were you still looking to sell? What was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you said. What was that? You're going to the property today?
Which one was that? Which property was that? Address.
Oh, let me pull it up here. I got to meet you guys because I have to repeat the address. Hold on. Let's see. I see it's the property here. Okay, perfect. Did I catch you at a good time? Did I catch you at a good time?
I'm leaving.
Do you have about 7 minutes? Is it okay?
Okay.
Perfect. So I actually want to call you back to see what we can offer you. And my process is very simple. I just want to ask you a few more questions other than what I see in the notes. That way I can go and evaluate it. What was that? Okay. That way I can go and evaluate it here in the computer, see what I can offer you. And Mr. Lewis, I want to let you know up front before I begin, just like I let everybody else know, we are a real estate investment company. So we may not always be the best fit, but we do have a team of agents just in case we may not be a good fit, okay? What was that?
Okay.
All right, perfect. So I'm looking here in the notes. It says it needs a lot of work. Can you tell me a little bit more about specifically what kind of work it may need? What does the interior look like? What was that? Sounds like he's choking.
Call me back in 10 minutes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, this is why I asked people in the very beginning, do you have about 7 minutes? Now, obviously he was eating. I still asked him. He said it was okay. And then it sounded like he was choking. I don't want to be responsible, if he gets into any kind of issues. But he said call back in 10 minutes. I am not going to call him back in 10 minutes. But who submitted this lead? Let's see. Rocky, you submitted this lead. Mr. Lewis on Maggie Street. Make sure you give this gentleman a call back in 10 minutes if you're watching. I just kind of ran through the comps kind of softly, and it looks like this could be a potential deal. He's asking $62,000. The ARV looks to be around 150. Just saying. So that's a pretty good. I mean, I got to ask more questions, obviously, about the condition, the tenants. If it's tenant occupied, you do have to ask, do you have a good relationship with the tenants? Is it on a month-to-month or annual lease? Are they paying rent, right? Maybe sick and tired of it, especially with all the stuff about the evictions, the laws being extended stuff. Older people typically don't want to deal with that. They're, especially if the tenants are a nuisance. So make sure you give this guy a call back. All right. Let's move on over to Florida. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. I'm live on YouTube. Somebody, let me see. Hey, Steven, I sent you a DM on Instagram about one-on-one coaching. I love the way you work. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I get asked that a lot. I typically don't do one-on-one coaching, but since I get that request a lot, I will make announcements this week about potential. You got to be a good fit, right? I don't really do one-on-one coaching with newbies, but if you're experienced, if you're looking to go to the next level, if you're going from 5 deals, you want to scale up to 10 to 15 deals a month, we'll talk. If you guys are interested in that, shoot me a DM. Okay, but I plan on making a few good announcements this week. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We are moving on back to Florida. Let me take this off. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Let me take this one off. The next lead we got is in Miramar, Florida. This needs a full rehab. He and his wife are the decision makers. The price he's looking for, the property is about 50% below market value. That's always a good start. So let me pull this property up, and then I'll give him a call. And let me tell you a quick tip, and this is something that I do in my company. If you're going to call somebody and right off the bat they're asking 50% less than full market value, or they're asking good price, do not, and I repeat, do not just rush the process like, oh, that's great, we can do that, let me send you the contract. So you see, whether it's a good deal, a bad deal, a home run, great deal, you can't accept that too quickly. And I'll tell you why. Anytime the homeowner says a number and it's a good deal and you respond with, that's great, I'm gonna send you the contract, whatever, they're gonna think in their head, why was this so easy? Could I have gotten a higher price? Should I have used Johnny, the real estate agent, to list the property? You know, you cannot move on somebody that's not, you can't move on somebody too quickly like that, okay? So let me pull this up, share screen. So this is the property. So it needs a complete rehab needed. They are asking $160,000. Had a stroke in 2013. Wife recently injured her leg. They want time to get ready and move. I've been trying to, here, this is a long question. Let me drop this down a little bit. I've been trying to get an agreement and have them understand they can close whenever they want, but he's stuck on getting ready first. Reason for selling, old couple that wants out of South Florida. So this sounds like a great lead. Who submitted this? Ray, you submitted. You've been submitting some really solid leads, Ray. All right, so let's give him a call and see what happens. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how to deal with people that aren't quote unquote ready. All right, because you're on the right track, but I do have a few suggestions for you. Okay, so let's give him a call. Dialing the number right now. All right, I'll put on speaker. Relaying the call. So it's good that the, hold on. Ray, did you put the right number in here? Because unless their phone number got disconnected, let me make sure I dialed the right number. Yeah, this is the right number. I think you may have put in the wrong number though. I am dialing the right number that you submitted, but I'm not sure if it's the right number or their phone number got disconnected. Who knows? Yeah, so it's not answering. How unfortunate. What I would do if I were you, Ray, if you're calling that number and they're not answering, skip trace it. Try to get another number out of them. But I'm going to run comps on this for you real quick just to see if, it's truly 50% below market value. The market's crazy right now. I mean, you can literally, some markets you can lock up the property a little bit higher than usual. And if it's in good shape, you'll assign it to like a buy and hold type of guy. So their property does have a pool, which is great. Anytime a property, by the way, is waterfront or has a pool, I usually like to increase that value between $15,000 to $20,000. It's one or the other. If it has a pool and it's in front of a lake or waterfront, whatever, it's not like your offer goes up $30,000, $40,000. It's one or the other. I had this guy, by the way. You have to make sure if somebody says it's waterfront, confirm on Google Maps, or if your Podio CRM setup has the capability to pull up the street view, map view, please confirm. Now it's funny because I don't see, let me go here down the street and see if this, see if it shows the pool, because it does on the, on Podio, not Podio, on PropStream it shows, yeah, they have an enclosed pool. Perfect. So they do have a pool and a shed and all that stuff. Yeah, I had this guy, like, some people, he's, you can talk to all kinds of people, but this guy said the property's waterfront, and there was like a little, almost like a freaking puddle in front of his house. I'm like, is this guy serious? And he was, and I just kind of went with it. I said, unfortunately, sir, this is not what I mean by waterfront is like, a lake, a river, the ocean, not a puddle. All right. So never be mean about it. Just respond in a way where it makes sense to them. All right. So anyways, what I want to tell you, Ray, you put here, they want time to get ready and move. I've been trying to get agreement and have them understand they can close whenever they want, but he's stuck on getting ready first. So you got to find out, because you're doing the right thing, because when people say, especially some older people, whenever you try to get the property under contract, they may think that they have to literally move the same or next day. You don't want anybody feeling that pressure of, man, I got to be out of here once you sign the contract. That's not the case. So you may come across this, but doing the right thing is saying, hey, just to let you know, what I mean by getting an agreement in place is not you have to move the same day or the next day. Just letting you know that. What that means is I have equitable interest in the property. I have the right to purchase the property, but you let me know when you like to close. If you're saying you need to get ready, by all means, take your time. But while you're getting ready, quote unquote ready, right? This allows us to do our due diligence. All right, we'll send this to the title company. We're doing inspection. So by the time that comes all back clean, you let us know when you'd like to close. Now, if you tell them that and they still say, I got to get ready, what you got to say is this. Hey, I can completely understand you got to get ready, but can you tell me exactly what that means? What does ready mean for you? What would be your deciding factor between selling today, next month? What can I do to help you get ready? And I'm not rushing you, sir, but I want to make sure I give you the best services possible, because ready for me is what other homeowners tell me is that they have to find a moving company. They have to throw some things out. They have to talk to the tenants. Do any of these, pertain to you? Like, try to figure out, dig in a little bit more what ready means. Now, obviously, this is a little bit, according to notes, it's elderly couple. They're a little bit older, and I guess one has an injured leg. So especially with moving, if somebody has a hurt leg, they're probably not going to want to move. Maybe that's what it means, right? They got to get ready to heal faster. We don't know, right? I actually had this lady, she was 80 years old, and she thought that if we get under contract, she's got to be out immediately. And she says that, she went through surgery and stuff. I said, ma'am, when we get an agreement, by the way, don't ever say contract, because that scares people. Contract, write that down mentally in your head. Contract is too binding. For some people, it scares them away. It's too binding. Say agreement. So what I told her was, hey, what I mean is when we get an agreement in place, right, we do our due diligence, we run title, and once it comes back clean, you let us know when you'd like to close. We want to move at your pace. There's no rush here, man, okay? But she said she needed help moving. Surprisingly, after we got the agreement signed, she was out in a few days. So I mean, some people may figure it out by themselves, right? Maybe they have friends or family that can help them. If they don't have anybody to help them, we find people to help them, okay? Not to rush them, but to make sure that they're taken care of, all right? All right, so let's take some questions here. Let's take a few questions. If you have any more questions, if you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe. If you're just tuning in, I am dropping a video on how to run comps after deal desk, okay? A lot of people have been asking me about land. I did that video. The next one is single family, comps part 2. The way I do it is it's going to be able to make you make an offer in less than 7 minutes. And it's not something you're going to learn overnight, okay? Trust me, because it's not like you watch the video, you're not going to be the Superman of comps. But I can promise you, you're going to get results a lot quicker if you practice it, okay? So I'm dropping that video right after deal desk. All right, because a lot of people want to see how I'm running comps. Obviously, on Deal Desk, I can't show you the comps because these are other people's leads, and I promise to keep them private. But I'm going to make a separate video on a random property and how I'm able to make an offer range within 7 minutes or less. Okay? All right, anyways, let's take some questions. Kansas City is the market I'm hitting right now. Kansas City is actually a great market. The spreads for me aren't that big there. Right? I like markets. I mean, I like markets with volume and high numbers. Some people like base hits too. That's okay. I know a lot of friends that are in that market. They're crushing it. A lot of volume. Okay. That would be good. Yep. What is your best list to pull in criteria when filtering? So this is a great question, because this is one of the #1 things I get asked, and to be honest with you, I don't have a magical perfect list that I tell you and you're going to get tons of deals. It varies by market and area and all that. What I can tell you is when it comes to lists, I'm not really pulling things drastically different than most of you already are. Absentee in-state, absentee out-of-state, pre-foreclosures, tired landlord lists, all that stuff, especially the landlord thing right now with all this eviction loss, going back and forth right now, you guys need to target that. there's going to be a small window of opportunity for that. Okay. The market, people say it's going to crash and all that stuff. I don't think it's going to, I mean, I haven't been through a market cycle yet like that. I've only been doing this for about 6 years, but I've been speaking with a lot of people that have been doing this for years and years and years. And they're expecting a correction, not a drastic, crazy crash. But with these little things with the eviction laws, there's going to be a lot of landlords that just don't want to put up with the crap anymore, right? And you have to learn how to assist them and capitalize on that stuff. Okay, so you know, basic list: absentee in-state, absentee out-of-state. Let me show you something here real quick. Let me see if I could share my screen, and I can just kind of show you a few things here. So if I go to, whoops, hold on a second, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Share screen, stop screen, share screen. So let me, oh, I got to delete this address first. All right, cool. So let me show you this. So let's say I'm in Tampa, Florida, right? So let's say I'm pulling a list in Tampa. All right, let me X this out. You see on PropStream, you guys can get a 7-day free trial on dealdeskdata.com. When this video is done, processed and all that, I'll drop a link in the description. But like, let's say I'm in Tampa, right? I click filter right here. There'll be some quick list choices. These are tons of lists you can get. Now, one of my favorites, now keep in mind, this is going to be, may perform different in your market, but these are the common ones I like to hit. Obviously, vacant, liens, pre-foreclosures. I don't really go after auctions or bank-owned because bank-owned properties are unassignable unless you double close or close on them yourself. Cash buyers is great for if you're building cash buyers lists. High equity is actually something I pull as well. Okay, because remember, there's going to be a lot of public records that aren't accurate. A lot of people actually are not hitting high equity lists. And this is just PropStream. There's tons of ways you can get lists, whether you are on ListSource or anything. Let me maximize my screen here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, free and clear, I don't go after that. Bankruptcy, you can go after divorce. I really like tax delinquent. You know, vacant land is good. Land is actually underrated. There's a lot less competition when it comes to land. Okay. Pre-probate is very good. Okay. Now keep in mind, the reason I say pre-probate is good is because it's pre-probate. The problem, I mean, not really a problem. There's pros and cons, but the con part of it is that like probate lists, the sales cycle takes longer, right? The sales cycle takes longer. Now, a lot of people make this mistake. Listen close. A lot of people make the mistake of, oh man, this is pre-probate. Like, I can't lock this up. It hasn't gone through probate yet. Wrong. You can lock it up. You can lock it up. So do not throw those leads away. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when people are like, man, it's under probate. It hasn't gone through probate. I just like deleted it. It's like the same thing as deleting land too. But if it's in pre-probate, you can still get it in agreement. You just can't close on it until after it's completed. And if it's a good enough deal, you can actually assist them with that. And again, the sales cycle may take longer. Make sure you're talking to the, what's it called? The executive of the estate, okay? And make sure you're talking to the main person, but it's just a longer sales cycle, but it's a great, great list, okay? So hopefully that answers your question. That's a great question. Do you have VA cold callers? I'll let you know what VA cold callers I use. Let me go to, give me 1 second. If you go to the REI Toolbox, hold on, this Apple Watch is taking everything up. The REIToolbox.com, I'll let you know what it takes you to. So the REIToolbox.com is going to take you to this right here. This is a list of all the resources that I use in my business. Click on the best virtual assistants. You're going to click this. It's going to take you to this, Vosity, okay? And you want to schedule a free consultation call. This is not for everybody, okay? This is an investment. It's not like you should start out and you're on a limited budget. I wouldn't recommend this to you, but I've actually had massive results with this company. And if you haven't heard what I said before, I'm actually partnering up with this company on providing real estate acquisitions services. virtual acquisitions agents, basically. A lot of people have cold calling services. How many companies out there do you know offer acquisitions agents? Not that many, because it's hard just to train somebody in person, especially virtual. My 2 acquisitions agents are virtual. I partnered up with Vosity, and we're going to start offering virtual acquisitions agents. And not only that, but they're going to be trained by me. I'm doing exclusive training. I have over 13 years sales experience. If you don't know me, I've coached hundreds of people, all that stuff. But I want to partner up with this company, start offering that service, because I feel it's going to really benefit tons of people. Trust me, if they're trained by me and I'm also part of the interview process, it's almost like having me in your company working for you. Okay. So I'm very confident in that. I'm very excited about that. All right. Let's see. What are you filtering within props into particular? I think I just kind of went over that. I use PropStream to pull lists as well. I mean, I use list source. There's tons of ways to get data. Okay. Also, if you guys are in the Georgia area, hit up Deanna. She can hook you guys up with probate lists and a whole bunch of lists. She also has a course on how you sell the list. So make sure you guys hit her up. And if you want a promo code with her, it's closer. You get a little discount on the course too. Okay. So make sure you guys check that out. All right, next question is, what do you do if you can't find any cash comps bought by company to compare? This is a great question, because a lot of people, if you're running comps and there's like, no, this does happen. Number one, make sure you're marketing in the right area. If there's no cash comps at all, you're probably hitting the wrong zip codes. Typically, a good market is there's lots of cash comps in specific zip codes within the last 90 days. Okay, I like hitting zip codes in the last 90 days to have the most cash transactions. Every market's different though. But what do you do if you can't find anything? Right? There may be cash comps, but maybe individuals are purchasing them. Not every investor will buy it under LLC. Sometimes they are an investor. They just put it under the personal name for whatever reason. Okay, so you can skip trace that person and call them. But if there are no cash comps in an area, I like to be overly conservative. So my rule of thumb is, let's say I go to, I don't know, the Nebraska market, all right? And I get a property or a referral there that like this person wants to sell, but there's no comps, there's no activity, and they're out in the country. There's nothing going on. The first thing I'll do is I'll look at the value, whether it's on PropStream or I can go to Zillow.com, check out this estimate. Let's say this estimate is $100,000, all right? My max offer, I will take 50% of this estimate or the value, and that's going to be my max offer. Half of that is the top number. Another thing you can do is in your market, if the tax assessed value is drastically lower than the actual value, which in most markets it is, you're going to start negotiating your anchor price based off of that. So your anchor price is going to be the tax assessed value, and your max offer is going to be 50% of this estimate. Hopefully that makes sense. But you have to be overly conservative when you're dealing with properties in markets that there's no data. Because guess what? If you get it under contract, do you think it's going to be easy to sell? Probably not. Probably not. So you can either work with agents in that area. A lot of times when I'm seeing properties where there's no investors buying, but there are individuals buying, I like to partner up with agents to help me sell that property. Okay. Couple more questions. When dealing with tax liens, which would you say best to deal with? All of them. I like to diversify my data, but it's got to be in good areas. So there's nothing specific I look for. The more data you have, the better. The main thing is, what zip codes is this data in? I'm in Georgia. Who is Deanna? Does she have an IG or website? So you're watching on YouTube. Deanna is an attorney in here in Georgia. I'm on Clubhouse with her. Go to Clubhouse, follow the Real Estate Talk Club. Okay, it's the largest real estate group, the club in Clubhouse. Okay, so make sure you guys follow that club. Deanna is also on these calls every Friday at 12. Make sure you guys follow her as well. Hit her up. Okay, she does offer a course on pulling lists as well. You can use a code word closer to get a discount on that. So I'm glad you asked that question on YouTube, because sometimes I get people on Clubhouse that aren't on YouTube, and some people on YouTube that are on Clubhouse. Okay, but if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe right now. If you're on Clubhouse, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe. Right after Deal Desk, that's all the questions and time I have today, guys. But right after I'm ending this, I'm going to be dropping a video exclusively on my YouTube channel on how to run comps, how to make an offer in less than 7 minutes. I'm going to run through it step by step. You need to watch that video. You need to practice it. The reason being is, let me tell you one last thing. If you are able to know what your offer is within 7 minutes while you are on the phone with the homeowner, you are going to have such an advantage over anybody else. Remember, there's companies out there that only go on appointments. You could know what your offer is. You could lock up the deal before this person even goes to the property. Okay? So I'm dropping that video on how to do that. I'll be dropping tons of free content on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe. Clubhouse, it's been a pleasure. Until next time, YouTube, anybody in Clubs and YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm about to drop that video in about 5 minutes. You don't want to miss it. Take care, guys. Have a great day. All right. I signed off on Clubhouse. All right. And I'm about to get off YouTube. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Watch out for that video. It's going to benefit you and your team. All right. I'll see you guys later.